Steel bottle.
Other teams might as well buy their tickets to Cancun now because the Celtics are on the path to ban on 19. With us on this journey are JT, Sam Packard, Brian Robb, and Sean. So I'm gonna need you all to buckle in because this pod's gonna be a wild ride.
Steel bottle. The Boston Celtics, steel bottle.
I've never seen anyone lose their season 2 years in a row.
A psychosexual celebration of the Boston Celtics.
What up, what up? It's me, Jay King from The Athletic, here today by myself. It's a solo podcast. Sorry for the playoff edition theme song. It is not the playoffs. Celtics could be headed for them, though. They've had a pretty good start, though they've lost their last couple of games here, coming off a close loss to the Detroit Pistons. The biggest takeaway from the post-game press conferences to me was Jaylen Brown's accountability. And I'm going to go pretty deep on this because I think it's been really important how Jaylen has approached this season, the type of leadership he's had this season, and the attitude he's taken toward what could have been a difficult season for the returners. He has just embraced every aspect of this journey. And so the Detroit game, he plays great. He had 34 points. He had, I think it was 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Could be wrong on those two numbers. Was absolutely special in the first half. Hit 7 of 10 mid-range shots. Hit some spinning fadeaway over Isaiah Stewart, was getting to the rim. The Pistons have one of the biggest, most physical defenses. They can switch. They have big guys who can move their feet in Stewart and Duren. And Jaylen was creating so much for the Celtics. His assist numbers probably could have been a lot higher. Celtics missed a ton of three-pointers around him, including a bunch from his kick-out passes. So he has a great game. It's a very competitive game, and he makes a couple of mistakes in the fourth quarter. None of it was too egregious. He fouled Tobias Harris with, I think it was 2.4 seconds left in the shot clock with a couple of minutes left. He missed a pair of free throws right before that. He had a turnover to Derek White where he was throwing past to Derek White. I believe it was on a flare screen, and the pass kind of hit Cade Cunningham in the arm, and the Pistons went and got a steal. So Jaylen, it wasn't a perfect game, but he certainly could have left that game and thought, man, I did a lot tonight. I played season high 40 minutes. I was beefing with Isaiah Stewart. I was getting all the way to the rim. I was creating shots for my teammates. Nobody made them. Like, Celtics missed a ton of three-pointers. He missed some threes too, but everybody missed three-pointers except for Derek White in the fourth quarter. And you're the star. You could look around and be like, I needed more from my teammates tonight. Jordan Walsh got in early foul trouble. He didn't play too many minutes. It was just the Celtics turned it over too much. Jaylen did some of that, of course. They couldn't really get many offensive rebounds against the Pistons. They missed, I think it was 15 of 17 threes at one stretch in the first half. And so he absolutely could have looked around and said, you know what? We need to play better. Or that guy needs to play better. Those guys need to play better. I need more help. And instead, he went absolutely the other way, put it on his own chest. And that, to me, is just great, great leadership. And I really enjoyed this about Jalen. And when he's done this this wasn't the first game when he's pointed the finger at himself. And every time he does it, I think back to the Kyrie year. Because Kyrie, the second year he was in Boston, the year that ended in a disaster where everybody hated playing with each other, and Kyrie ended up leaving, Al Horford ended up leaving. What should have been a fantastic team just totally fell apart. Won, I think it was 48 games, maybe 47 games, flamed out in the second round of the playoffs against the Milwaukee Bucks. And it was so bad. And there were so many reasons for that, but one of the reasons that season went so sideways is because Kyrie could not stop dividing the locker room. He would always talk about the team like he would be like the young guys. He would always say the young guys. And he would talk about how the young guys don't know how to play championship basketball. The young guys don't do this. The young guys aren't ready for this. The young guys. He won at one point in the season, he revealed that he called LeBron James. I'm forgetting all of the details of the call with LeBron James, but the gist of it was that he apologized to LeBron because now he knows what it's like to deal with someone like he was when he was younger, as LeBron had to deal with him early in his career. And when he said it, he almost said it like it was a good thing. And really, it was just another way that he was shitting on the young guys around him and dividing the locker room and letting the world know that he was dealing with a lot, dealing with the younger guys, and that they were the ones that weren't ready. Not him. He was fine to handle it all. He was ready to play winning basketball. He was ready to win a championship. He was ready to carry a team, but those guys weren't ready. And Jalen has far more reason to blame the young guys this year. Like they've been fine. They've been promising. They've been certainly better than I expected. And you can basically go up and down the roster. Every single young guy has emerged and been promising and contributed. But they're not Jason Tatum. They're not Jaylen Brown. Those are the young guys Kyrie was shitting on. Terry Rozier. And he constantly did it. Constantly was talking about their shortcomings, how they weren't ready, how they needed to grow up, whatever. And during that season, if you guys can remember, Jalen at one point said, leadership starts from the top down. And I think he said not from the bottom up. And he was basically saying, this is my assumption at least, he was basically saying to Kyrie, it starts with you, man. If you want us to grow up, it starts with you. And it's the way to get us to grow up is not you telling everybody we need to grow up. You need to be different. You need to get your stuff together first before you start blaming everybody else. And, fast forward 7 years now, and Jalen's in this position, and he has never once, looked down upon the young guys. He has hyped up the young guys. Jordan Walsh, Jalen came out and said that, when Jordan was on the bench early this season, he was telling him, you can be our defensive stopper. He even went to Joe Mazzulla, told him how important he thought Jordan Walsh could be. He's vouching for these guys. He's lifting them up. He's empowering them. One of the early games this season, I think it was a Celtics loss, but Jalen was like, Hugo Gonzalez can't be the only one playing the way we want to play. Again, singling out one of the young guys, again, doing it in a positive manner. Like that guy's leading with his hustle, with his effort. We need to follow suit. And every time he's mentioned any of the young guys, it's been in a positive light, except for probably one time when he was asked about Jordan Walsh and his continued good play, and said basically like, he's been great, he's been awesome. I'm gonna try to tone it down because I don't want him to get a big head. We need him to do this consistently, and that's his next challenge, basically. And even then, he was being positive. Even then, he was lifting up Jordan Walsh, saying Celtics need him to do it all the time, and leading. And so I don't think it's nothing when Jaylen Brown goes up after a game and he's had 34 points and he's been the best player on the Celtics, with the exception of Derek White in the fourth quarter, and helped carry them into a close game. Couldn't close it. Missed 7 free throws. Missed some big free throws. Had a big turnover. Had a costly foul. That's all true, but certainly wasn't a bad enough performance where he had to go and be like, I wasn't good enough tonight. I needed to be better. My mindset needed to be better in the fourth quarter. I needed to handle details better. He didn't need to say any of that, but he did. All those young guys are looking at him, and they're realizing we need to be like that because he's like that. And if he's saying, what more can I do? Then we certainly need to say, what more can I do? Because he has been super efficient, averaging 29 points, hitting all his mid-range shots, playing hard as hell, playing consistently as hell, scoring 30 most nights, many nights, and just has had a great season so far. Had a great game against Detroit in a tough matchup. Had to get tough buckets. Those were not easy baskets that he was getting, easy points. And after it all, he pointed the finger right at his chest. And it's just one of the ways that Jaylen has impressed me this season. The way that he has kind of taken on this challenge of, being part of a team that's much different than he's used to. He's been in the conference finals almost every season of his career. Not last year, not the second Kyrie year that I spoke about, and not when they had a first-round exit when he was actually hurt in the playoffs. I believe he broke his wrist right before that playoffs, and they lost to Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie, and the Nets. And other than that, like, he's used to being in the conference finals. He's used to having great players around him. He's used to veteran-laden supporting cast. He's used to guys around him who know what they're doing, who don't need to learn, who can just be expected to contribute in a certain way and be professional and be steady. And now he's with a bunch of young guys who are, like I said, are promising, but young, make mistakes, go up and down. And he's just taking this challenge head on. Joe Mazzulla had a super hard training camp. Who never complained, Jaylen Brown. He's 29 years old. He was coming off a knee procedure, and he was cool with the hard training camp because he thought it was best for the team. He bought into what was best for the team. And this team, like, they wouldn't have had that training camp if Al Horford was still there, if Drew Holiday was still there. They had it because they're young, because Joe Mazzulla had to mold this team differently. And Jaylen said, cool. If that's what we need, I'm in. And he has just set the right tone every step of the way. Every step of the way, Jaylen Brown has been committed. He's been bought in, and He could be frustrated that this team isn't as talented as he's used to. He could be frustrated that against a team like Detroit, it's not the type of fight it used to be where the Celtics were expected to win those games. And now they still have a chance to win those games, obviously. But, Detroit's better. Detroit's number one in the Eastern Conference. Celtics are not. They're looking up at teams now. And Jaylen, he's just bought in, man. He's bought into trying to close that gap, to trying to scale back to the top of the Eastern Conference, to preparing all these young guys for not just now, but when Jason Tatum returns. And, Celtics have talked about not skipping steps. It would have been easy to skip steps this year. Would have been easy to listen to the talk about a gap year and say, yeah, why go all out? Jason Tatum's out. Bunch of other former All-Stars walked out the door. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Luke Cornett, who was a big piece. They're gone. It's okay to not be fully invested in a season. That's what they could have thought. They obviously didn't. And I think it's a testament to Brad Stevens. I think it's a testament to Joe Mazzulla. It's a testament to the talent of the young guys. It's a testament to the hunger of the entire roster. But it certainly is, in some ways, this team is a reflection of Jaylen Brown. And I've just been really impressed with how he's handled this entire ride, this entire journey from day one. He hasn't complained once about all the talent they lost. Hasn't complained once that he's on a team that looks a whole lot different, that has a whole lot more flaws, that has a whole lot more developing in front of it. He hasn't complained once. Instead, he said, I wasn't good enough. That's the type of teammate you want to have, the type of teammate you want to go to war with. And it's just really impressive, man. It is really impressive what Jaylen Brown has done, not just on the court, but with his leadership, with his example, with his accountability. What are you going to do if you're one of those young guys? You say, I don't need to be better. No, not after seeing what Jaylen Brown did. You're going to say, what can I do? What can I do to help out that I didn't do enough? What are the areas where I need to improve? Because Jaylen's doing that. He's not pointing the finger, pointed right at himself. What can I do? And I don't know if they would have won the game if he knocked down his free throws, if he hadn't turned the ball over, if he hadn't fouled Tobias Harris. Still would have had work to do. But that's the mentality you want your players to have. It's not about the youth around him. It's not about, the loss of talent that they had. They think they still have enough. Jaylen thinks he still has enough. And if he plays as well as he can, then he thinks he can get wins. Doesn't matter who he's playing against. He thinks he can get wins. He was disappointed he didn't against Detroit, as good as Detroit is. And he's going to fight this year. He's going to do whatever he can to scrape out wins. He's been on the court just about every night, despite having some nagging injuries already. That dude, he showed a lot. He won Finals MVP. He was ready for all the big moments throughout that entire playoff run. He's shown a lot in some big moments. He's showing more this year. He is showing a different side of him that he didn't necessarily have to show before. And that's just an indomitable spirit. Doesn't matter what the odds were against this team. Doesn't matter how much has changed. Doesn't matter that some other guys in his situation would probably be ticked off, probably be disgruntled, would probably be, Let's just wait for Jason Tatum to get back. And then we can go after it full speed. Then we can really crank it up. Jaylen's been cranked up. Been cranked up, and it really is like salute to that guy. Salute to that guy, because the way he's approached this season has been what you want from a Celtics player, what you want from any player. And I just thought the accountability that he showed after that Detroit loss was just the latest example. That dude doesn't point fingers at anyone but himself. And this team will be better for it. And he will be better for it. And he is going to have, he already has had one hell of a year. But he is going to help set the foundation for whatever this next era is, because of the way that he's taken on all the challenges, all the obstacles this season. That's all I got for you. We'll be back as usual Monday through Friday. And if you're a kid, become a god. If you're a god, become a legend. If you're a legend, and if you're a kid, a god. We love you. We love you all. I love you all. I'm so appreciative of the support you guys give us. And I thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.
Steel bottle, the Boston Celtics steel bottle.